Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I am your host, Blackenfist. Jine is apparently the name of Goku's mother. Toiryama just revealed this in an interview that he gave in Sakyo Jump. Now this is huge news that has, I think, ramifications that spur beyond what he just said and what he's gonna do. But apparently, the reason Toiryama was telling us about Goku's mother's name and why her name is Jine is because she's actually going to have an appearance. She's going to have an appearance in the manga Jaco the Galactic Patrolman. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Jaco the Galactic Patrolman, it's a manga that Toiryama did last year. It's a one-shot manga, so it's not very long. That is set in the Dragon Ball world that takes place before the events of Dragon Ball. There's not any of the Dragon Ball characters in Jaco the Galactic Patrolman, but there are cameos. For instance, Goku actually appears in there as a toddler. And apparently, Toiryama has decided that in the bonus chapter of Jaco the Galactic Patrolman, he's going to have Goku's mother have an appearance. Straight from the man himself, Akira Toiryama. Quote, "As for her appearance and such, you'll find out if you read the bonus comic in the collected release of Jaco the Galactic Patrolman. Her name was Jine, and long ago she fought on a 4-person team together with Bardock. Jine had a gentle personality and wasn't cut out as a warrior, being saved from danger by Bardock. At the time, a special emotion was born between them. Normally, Saiyans don't have much of a notion of romance or marriage, and apart from the royal family of Vegeta, they aren't particularly about blood relationships. But in along all that, I suppose you could say that the pair of Bardock and Jine were those rare Saiyans who were joined by bond other than the purposes of reproduction. Incidentally, Jine, who was not cut out as a warrior, would go to work at the meat distribution center of planet Vegeta." End quote. So there you have it, the exact quote from the man himself. And he actually revealed a couple more things there too about how Saiyans work and how, I guess, their society was a little bit, other than just Goku's mother's name, Jine. I guess a little bit also about Bardock and his relationship to Goku's mother. So I'm actually wondering how much of that actual quote is actually going to be fleshed out. Are we actually going to see a little story about Goku's mother? Or is she just going to appear in one frame just to say, oh look, here's Goku's mother? I really hope they actually flesh a little things out in the chapter and they just don't plaster Goku's mother's name on there and really don't flesh anything out. I hope Toiryama really does do this justice, because this is really big. It's something that I have been thinking about for a long time. So after all this time, Goku's mother is finally going to be revealed. We yet still don't know how she looks like, but that will be fixed shortly when the comic is released, I think in March. But I think this does open up the world of possibilities. For instance, she could appear in other Dragon Ball related things, like a special OVA, or some sort of maybe movie appearance. Maybe not, because her possibilities of appearing in future Dragon Ball things are very limited, for the very fact that we know that when, of course, Planet Vegeta was destroyed, and along with most of the Saiyan race, so she probably died there. But we don't know yet. Who knows? I mean, Toiryama just threw us a curveball that he finally revealed Goku's mother. So, who knows? Maybe she lived. I don't think that's a very high likelihood, but who knows? We don't know with Toiryama. In the case that she did live, that opens up a wealth of possibilities. It opens up the fact that maybe there could be another special about maybe Goku's mother being introduced, or something along those lines. If she died along with all the other Saiyans, then of course the possibilities are much more limiting, because you'd have to create a special along the lines of just around Planet Vegeta when he was destroyed, or something along those lines. Basically what I'm trying to say is that I don't want them to stop with just the Galactic Patrolman comic. I want them to do something else with this new material. This is, I think, very exciting, because this is new material for Dragon Ball, and I think this has potential for new stories for Dragon Ball. which is why I don't want them to stop with just this. I also think it's very interesting that Toriyama is making out Goku's mother as a very special and rare Saiyan. Kind of like Goku, and I guess what he's trying to say is that this is where he inherited it from. Because Bardock was definitely not shown as being very unique in terms of Saiyan. The only thing unique about Bardock is that he was a low-class Saiyan that was kind of doing things that maybe a low-class Saiyan wasn't supposed to do in terms of fighting prowess. But that was about it. It seems that Goku's mother is a completely different, special, rare breed. And I don't mean that as a breed of Saiyan. I mean that in terms of like a very unique Saiyan that might be an anomaly among them, where she's not exactly a warrior. And maybe this is where Goku inherited those traits from. But then I'm thinking about this because in the series we've always been told that Goku hit his head to make him a kind-hearted, or at the very least get rid of his more evil Saiyan tendencies of destruction and chaos. And that allowed Grandpa Gohan to raise him as a kind, loving boy. But now that we have learned about Goku's mother, this adds another very interesting dynamic. Because we've always thought it was very simple. Goku was going to probably be a very destructive force on Earth. And then he hit his head, probably erasing some of those more evil Saiyan tendencies. And then Grandpa Gohan could then teach him the ways of being a nice person and such. Now with the whole thing about Goku's mother also being a very kind-hearted person, it adds just another thing. Was Goku just always like this, or maybe was he more inclined to be like this because of what he inherited? Maybe the bump on the head did help in trying to erase some of those primal and impulsive Saiyan instincts, and the traits that he inherited from his mother actually did help him a little bit. Maybe it was a little bit of both, a bump on the head and the fact that his mother was also a very rare Saiyan. So now it's just adding a little bit more dynamic. I don't know if this directly contradicts anything that has been around in the series. It possibly could, and it wouldn't be the first time, by the way. Toriyama has messed up in terms of plot holes before, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm pretty sure that we could explain this one away with just a little bit of thinking, and it doesn't necessarily erase everything that has happened in the past in terms of the whole head bumping thing. And you know what? This is what I'm thinking, and this is my new theory now. My new theory is that a Joe Schmo Saiyan, you know, a regular Saiyan that it has destructive tendencies and is a warrior, if he bumped his head when he was a child, he would probably not be as destructive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he'll be a nice person of good heart, like Goku is. So that's the difference, I think, that just because the Saiyan bumped his head doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good person necessarily, and I think that's why Goku was, because it just gave him the opportunity. He was a little bit more inclined to be that way because of the traits he inherited from his mother. That is my new theory and the way I'm thinking. This is pretty fresh on my mind, so maybe some new information will be revealed. Obviously, the chapter is not released yet. The comic's not released yet. So, of course, there might be some new information, and I will definitely bring that information to you guys when it comes out. And who knows, it'll probably add a whole bunch of other layers on top of this whole web that I'm already talking about. But that's my theory so far. Of course, guys, when it comes out, I'll bring it to you guys, and I'll definitely discuss it and such. But these are my thoughts on the very big announcement of Goku's mother. But anyway, guys, until next time, I am, of course, Blackenfist.